A new sodium-ion battery breakthrough promising full charges in just 11 minutes and rock-solid safety in extreme heat or cold could finally make longer-range affordable EVs a reality for Aussie drivers, exactly as Zeekr confirms its most powerful plug-in hybrid SUV yet, and BMW prepares the longest-range electric sedan you can buy here. This is Plugged In Australia. G'day, welcome back to the podcast, episode 36 on Tuesday, the 24th of March 2026. And petrol prices, they continue to go up. Diesel now hitting $3 a litre and petrol at least $2.40 in many parts of the country. But a new sodium-ion battery breakthrough promising full charges in just 11 minutes and rock-solid safety in extreme heat or cold could finally make longer-range affordable EVs a reality for Australian drivers, exactly as Zeekr confirms its most powerful plug-in hybrid SUV yet, and BMW prepares the longest-range electric sedan you can buy here. All of these stories and more. This is Plugged In Australia. Chinese manufacturer BAIC has unveiled its latest sodium-ion battery cells that deliver a full charge in approximately 11 minutes using a 4C ultra-fast charging rate while achieving an energy density of 170 to 175 watt-hours per kilogram, placing it directly in the same league as many current lithium iron phosphate packs and closing the gap that previously held sodium-ion back from mainstream EV use. The prismatic cells use abundant, low-cost sodium materials instead of scarce lithium, cobalt, or nickel, delivering significantly lower production costs and far better supply chain resilience for high-volume vehicles. Safety testing shows the cells absorb 200% of rated capacity without any fire or explosion risk and maintain structural integrity under thermal abuse up to 200 degrees Celsius. While real-world cold weather performance retains over 92% of capacity at minus 20 degrees Celsius, making the technology particularly suited to Australia's variable climate from outback heat to the southern winters. BAIC has completed process validation for mass production of these prismatic cells, with internal reports indicating the technology could reach vehicles as early as late 2026 or early 2027. The breakthrough directly ties to Australia through BAIC's joint venture with Beijing Hyundai that already builds the Elexio electric SUV sold here with its current 88.1 kilowatt-hour LFP pack, delivering 546 kilometers of WLTP range, and that vehicle's got the 160 kilowatts of power, and at the moment it has a 38-minute 10 to 80% DC fast charging. Upgrading that platform to sodium-ion could push real-world ranges toward 500 kilometers while slashing costs and improving extreme temperature tolerance without waiting for solid-state packs still years from volume production. Rivals like BYD's current Blade LFP cells in the Atto 3 deliver 420 kilometers of real-world range, and that's from a 60.4 kilowatt-hour pack with slower charging in cold conditions. While CATL's parallel sodium-ion work reinforces the technology's momentum towards mainstream Australian EVs where affordability, fast charging and reliability on long regional hauls matter most. Mazda Australia has confirmed the CX-6e electric medium SUV for local arrival in 2026 and is pushing back hard on origin concerns by emphasizing that the vehicle is engineered, tuned and validated to global Mazda standards despite being produced in China through a 50% joint venture with Chang'an Automobile. Product boss Daniel Wakelam stated this is 100% a Mazda, while Managing Director Vinish Bindi added, "It's not about where it's built, but who's behind it," highlighting the brand's oversight on design, engineering quality control, and ride calibration to deliver the signature Mazda Jinba Itai, that's their thing, driving feeling Australian buyers expect. The CX-6e measures 4,850 millimeters long, 1,935 millimeters wide, 1,620 millimeters tall, and it sits on a 2,902 millimeter wheelbase. giving it a practical 5-seat cabin with generous rear legroom and a large boot that expands significantly with seats folded. Power comes from a single motor mounted electric motor producing 190 kilowatts and 290 meters of torque, paired with a 78 kilowatt hour lithium ion phosphate battery, delivering up to 560 kilometers of WLTP range and combined energy consumption of 15.9 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers in Australian spec testing. DC fast charging reaches 195 kilowatts for a 30 to 80% top-up in around 15 minutes, while it has 11 kilowatt AC home charging as standard. Interior highlights include a 26-inch panoramic dashboard display, advanced driver assistance suite with adaptive cruise, 360-degree camera, and premium materials throughout. Pricing is expected to start around $55,000 before on-roads for the GT grade and $62,000 for the top Potenza, positioning it directly against the Tesla Model Y long range at similar money, but with Mazda's renowned handling, dynamics, and a more conventional SUV silhouette. The CX-6e shares the EPA1 platform with the already launched Mazda 6e sedan, but gains higher ground clearance and a practical SUV proportions that suit Australian families when using on highway and light gravel tracks, while the Changan partnership allows faster access to established EV supply chains without compromising the brand's reputation and quality that has seen strong pre-order interest from existing Mazda customers. Zeekr Australia Managing Director Frank Lee has confirmed the small Zeekr X electric SUV will receive a major facelift arriving in the first half of 2026, featuring improved battery chemistry for better real-world efficiency, a completely overhauled interior with raised center console for more practical storage, new seat and door trim materials, magic seat-style fold-up rear bench that transforms the second row into extra cargo space, similar to the Honda HR-V, and fresh exterior color options. The current X already delivers strong sales momentum alongside the 7X, and the update retains the same compact footprint while boosting range and charging performance to keep it competitive against the Volvo EX30 it shares platform DNA with. In the second half of 2026, Zeekr will also introduce the 009 Grand 4-seat ultra-luxury people mover variant, badged locally as the top-spec 009 model, with even more premium appointments than the current 7-seat version already on sale here since late 2024. The Grand adds gold badge work, larger chrome-style wheels, a massive rear entertainment screen bulkhead separating front and rear cabins, and enhanced materials throughout to directly rival the Lexus LM Ultra Luxury, which is priced at $223,000. Both updates maintain the existing 116 kilowatt-hour lithium manganese cobalt battery architecture on the 009 with 400-volt charging, while the X gains the newer pack already available in China, delivering the kind of incremental improvements Australian buyers expect in a rapidly evolving premium EV segment, where the current 009 has already outsold the Mercedes EQV in local reviews for refinement and value. And staying with Zeekr, Zeekr Australia has officially locked in the 8X PHEV luxury SUV for 2027 local deliveries, confirming it as the brand's first plug-in hybrid model here and positioning it above the current 7X electric midsize SUV as a direct rival to the Range Rover Sport, Lexus RX and the Audi Q7. The 5-seat 8X measures 5,100mm long, 1,998mm wide, and 1,780mm tall, and sitting on a 3,069mm wheelbase, delivering a commanding road presence with 5 or 6-seat layout. Powertrain options include a 2-litre turbocharged 4-cylinder engine producing 205 kilowatts, mated to either a dual or tri-motor electric setups for total system outputs of 660 kilowatts in the standard dual motor variant, or a headline 1,030 kilowatts in the tri-motor Dawn performance model, achieving 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 3.7 seconds or as low as 2.9 seconds respectively. Battery choices are a 55.1 kilowatt hour pack delivering up to 256 kilometers CLTC electric only range, or the largest 70 kilowatt hour unit for 328 kilometers CLTC electric driving range, and a combined range of 1,400 kilometers on that same lenient CLTC cycle. The 900-volt architecture supports ultra-fast DC charging with 20 to 80% refill in just 9 minutes on a suitably powerful charger. Standard features include dual-chamber air suspension with continuously variable dampening, Brembo 6-piston front brakes on the performance variant, Pirelli tyres, a 16-inch 3.5K OLED touchscreen cluster, a 13-inch digital instrument display, 44-inch augmented reality heads-up display, 29-speaker NAM Palace audio system, a 17-inch rear ceiling screen, heated, ventilated and massaging Napa leather seats, a 9.5-litre refrigerated and heated compartment, and no fewer than 50 interior storage compartments. Pricing in China starts from the equivalent of around 78,000 Australian dollars, suggesting local figures from $80,000 plus on roads once landed, while the model's luxury interior and off-road ready stance make it a compelling alternative to traditional premium plug-in hybrids for Australian buyers needing long-distance capability without full EV infrastructure dependence. Alright, another Zeekr story coming up to you. Lots of Zeekr news today. Zeekr Australia Managing Director Frank Lee has placed the 9X flagship 3-row plug-in hybrid and 7 GT performance electric wagon firmly in the 2027 model pipeline, alongside the 8X, which we just mentioned before, giving buyers a full luxury and performance escalation from the current 7X and 009. Now, the 9X measures 5,239mm long, 2,029mm wide, and 1,819mm tall, sitting on a 3,169mm wheelbase, and is offered in a luxurious 6-seat captain's chair layout with full reclining and rotating second-row seats that face rearward for ultimate passenger comfort. It shares the 2-litre turbo petrol and tri-motor plug-in hybrid architecture of the 8X, for peak combined outputs of up to 1,030 kilowatts, and uses the same 70 kilowatt hour battery for up to 380 kilometers of CLTC only range. The 900-volt system again enables 9-minute 20 to 80% charging, while luxury features mirror the 8X with added chrome detailing and 3-row practicality that positions it more directly against the Q7, the Mercedes GLS, the BMW X7, and a full-size Range Rover. The 7 GT performance wagon brings pure electric excitement with an 800-volt architecture, up to 100 kilowatt-hour battery, delivering 825 kilometers on the CLTC cycle. It's a rear drive or all-wheel drive options, up to 475 kilowatts, and a 2.95 second 0 to 100 kilometers an hour, plus the air suspension and adaptive damping for European-style dynamics. Both models will arrive after the 8X, depending on final Chinese homologation timing, but expand Zeekr Australian portfolio into full-size luxury and high-performance wagon segments where buyers currently choose between expensive European plug-in hybrids or pure EVs with shorter ranges. Renault Australia General Manager Glenn Seely has defended the brand's positioning in a market dominated by lower-priced Chinese models by stating that Renault is deliberately choosing European design, calibration, handling and service quality over volume chasing, noting that the company can comfortably survive on around 6,000 annual sales in Australia's fragmented market, where the top 10 brands already take 70% share. Seely emphasised you get what you pay for when comparing Renault's current lineup of the Megane E-Tech, Scenic E-Tech and Kangoo E-Tech against cheaper alternatives, highlighting advantages in user-friendly technology with physical controls, muscle memory ergonomics that keep eyes on the road, and a full range of powertrains from pure electric to hybrid that won't leave buyers behind regardless of market shift. Current sales sit at 4,569 units for 2025, with a similar decline early in 2026, yet Seely pointed to 6 new or refreshed models arriving over the next 18 months, starting with the Scenic E-Tech as evidence of long-term commitment. He ruled out bringing ultra-affordable European EVs like the Renault 5 E-Tech or the Alpine A290 in the near term due to small market size, high compliance costs around ADR 3403 child seat anchorage points, and the need for strong after-sales support networks that cheaper volume brands sometimes struggle to scale in regional Australia. The strategy keeps Renault focused on premium feel and reliability rather than price wars, directly addressing buyer hesitation around long-term ownership costs and service availability that have some Chinese brands expand rapidly but face questions on durability in our unique conditions. BMW will end production of the current i4 electric liftback after the 2026 model year to make way for the all-new newer Classe i3 sedan that is confirmed for Australian deliveries from early 2027 and is set to become the longest range electric vehicle available here with a headline 900 kilometres WLTP figure on the flagship i3 50X drive variant. As we reported earlier in episode 35 when the i3 and its touring wagon were first confirmed, the new model rides on the dedicated newer Classe platform with an 800-volt architecture, 108.7 kilowatt-hour nickel manganese cobalt, or NMC, battery using cylindrical cells for 20% higher energy density, dual motor all-wheel drive producing 345 kilowatts and 645 newton meters of torque for a sub 5 second 0 to 100 kilometers per hour time, and a DC fast charging rate of up to 400 kilowatts, which should add about 400 kilometers of range in about 10 minutes, or 10 to 80% in about 21 minutes. Dimensions sit at 4,760 to 4,763 millimeters long, 1,865 millimeters wide, and 1,482 millimeters tall, and will be sitting on a 2,897 millimeter wheelbase, delivering superior interior space and ride compliance over the current i4. Interior technology will include the 43.3-inch panoramic display, 17.9-inch central touchscreen with Operating System X, full over-the-air updates and advanced driver assistance. Pricing is expected to open around $100,000 before on roads, making the i3 a direct successor that finally gives BMW a genuine long-distance electric sedan for interstate and regional Australian driving, where the outgoing i4's maximum 613 kilometers WLTP on higher grades fell short. The i4's phase-out after February 2027 in most markets is part of BMW's planned transition to the newer Classe family, with the brand confirming the 4 Series Coupe and convertible will continue in future generations, while the i3 sedan and wagon take over the core electric sedan role. So this next segment is on my favourite subject, the plug-in hybrids. All jokes aside, whilst I think they don't have a long-term future here in Australia, at the moment they are serving an important stepping stone. And I've seen quite a few stories out there this week about ranking them in different ways in terms of their longest electric-only driving range. So let's see which one of those plug-in hybrids is going to be best there. Australia's longest electric range plug-in hybrids, measured on the more realistic WLTP cycle, are currently headed by the Chery Tiggo 9 Super Hybrid and its closely related Omoda 9 Super Hybrid variant, both delivering 146 kilometers of pure electric WLTP range from a substantial 34.46 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery pack paired with a 1.5-litre turbocharged 4-cylinder petrol engine and 3 electric motors, producing a combined system output of 315 kilowatts and 580 newton meters of torque in the all-wheel drive configuration. Priced from $59,990 plus on roads for the Tiggo 9 and $61,990 plus on roads for the Omoda 9 in top grades, these large 7-seat luxury SUVs offer class-leading interior space with 660 litres of boot capacity in the third row up configuration, up to 70 kilowatt DC fast charging that can replenish 30 to 80% in 18 minutes, triple locking differentials on high models, air suspension on flagship variants, and a combined driving range exceeding 1,000 kilometres when the 55-litre fuel tank is full. They sit directly against premium European rivals like the Range Rover Sport P46e, which achieves 121 kilometres WLTP electric range from its larger 38.2 kilowatt-hour usable battery and 338 kilowatts total output but obviously a much higher price, $181,000 plus on roads. Now, obviously, no one's comparing a Cherry to a Range Rover, but I guess it's in terms of size and to show that just because the car is more expensive and has a bigger battery, it has a lower electric-only driving range. So the Chinese really pulling ahead in that respect. Next in the WLTP ranking is the GWM Haval H6 GT PHEV, with real-world testing suggesting approximately 145 kilometers of electric-only capability, despite its 180 kilometers of NEDC claim. Now, I couldn't find a WLTP figure for this car, so we're just going to have to work off what people are getting and the NEDC one, because it does have an NEDC claim on it. And it's all coming from a 35.43 kilowatt hour battery, delivering 321 kilowatts and 762 newton meters of combined for a 4.9 second 0 to 100 kilometers per hour sprint, and it's priced from $53,990 drive away in the Ultra specification. The MG-HS Super Hybrid follows closely with a verified 120 kilometers WLTP electric range, and that's from a 24.7 kilowatt hour battery, and that one's got 220 kilowatts of combined output, offering exceptional value at $48,990 plus on roads, while providing a practical 1,000 plus kilometer total range and 7-year warranty that makes it highly competitive against the BYD C-Line 8 all-wheel drive, which achieves around 120 to 125 kilometers WLTP equivalent from its 35.6 kilowatt hour pack. And that one's got 359 kilowatts total power system, and pricing from that one starts at $63,990 plus on roads. And as I mentioned before, you've got premium options such as the Land Rover Range Rover Sport P460e, and that will deliver 118 to 123 kilometers of WLTP electric range from its 38.2 kilowatt hour battery, while the Skoda Superb and Kodiaq plug-in hybrid models achieve 112 kilometers WLTP from a 25.7 kilowatt hour pack, and they have 150 kilowatts combined output, with pricing from $66,990 drive away for the Superb wagon. We then jump over to Cupra, and the Leon Sports Tourer wagon rounds out the competitive field with 119 kilometers of WLTP electric range. These WLTP figures translate to real Australian ranges of about 90 to 130 kilometers, depending on things like the climate, speed, terrain, and use of air conditioning or heating. Does it have a heat pump? Things like that. I don't think most of these plug-in hybrids would have a heat pump, because it would probably want to use the heat from the engine, because that's the only good thing that an ICE engine can do, is generate heat, making the top models genuinely useful for daily electric commuting with the security of a petrol engine for longer interstate or regional trips where charging infrastructure remains patchy, ultimately delivering the lowest combined running costs and emissions for Australian families and fleets who require occasional long-haul flexibility without committing fully to pure battery electric vehicles. And that's a wrap on episode 36 of Plugged In Australia. Thank you so much for listening. Hope you've enjoyed the podcast. As always, if you have any feedback to give me, info@pluggedinaustralia.com.au. I very much appreciate hearing from you. Hopefully you learned something new. There's a lot of figures there, especially in the plug-in hybrid area. And what's to come, especially from Zeekr. There's a lot of those bigger SUVs on their way there, which is something I think that is lacking at the moment, especially price-wise. I mean, you can get into an EV9, but, that top spec, that medium to top spec is 130 grand plus. So getting some of those not quite so expensive sub $100,000, $80,000 ones is going to be key. Once again, thank you very much for listening, and until the next time, stay plugged in and stay charged. Ci vediamo.